The Rams never got the ball in the overtime session. The Lions drove 70 yards in 8 plays. 7 of the 8 plays were on the ground, capped by a 1-yard touchdown run by Lions running back David Montgomery. The Rams are at Arizona next Sunday. The Chargers had more rushing yards than passing yardage in their 12-point win over the Las Vegas Raiders at SoFi. J.K. Dobbins ran for 135 yards and 1 touchdown. Even though the Chargers have one of the NFL's best quarterbacks in Justin Herbert, Harbaugh let everybody know that his team will be running the football. The Chargers are at Carolina next Sunday. The Dodgers shut out Cleveland Sunday. They now have a 6-game lead over San Diego in the NL West. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Tavis is under attack. I can't get his radio station on my transistor. I'm getting the Asian station that he's right around, but they're not letting KBLA 1580 come in. I'm not getting the black man. So let Tavis know he's under attack. Cyber attack, racist attack, fascist attack, but he's under attack. And they doing something to disrupt his radio station so they won't get the truth out to us.
Hey, it's Tavis. We appreciate all that love, let me tell you, because we may very well be under attack on all sides. Just because you don't believe in conspiracy theories don't mean they ain't after you. But in reality, sometimes stuff happens with the signal from the studio to the tower, which sends our programming to your car, home, office, or your transistor radio. But when you download the KBLA 1580 app, the sound is clear as a bell all day, all night, anywhere in the world, from Los Angeles to Lagos. So we love all of our listeners, no matter how you hear us. But when you download the KBLA 1580 app and hear that richness, you'll wonder why you didn't do it sooner. But don't take my word for it. Download the KBLA 1580 app right now. I'm Tavis Smiley, and I approve this message.
My man Billy Preston sounding pretty good today. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. And as promised in this hour, the two conversations, we'll talk about holistic healing on the backside of this hour and all the new evolution in science regarding healthcare, but more, again, expressly, the future of holistic healing. We'll talk about that with an amazing guest on the backside of this hour. But again, as promised, a conversation now with the chair of the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, Jamie Harrison. I can't imagine the day before a big presidential debate what Jamie Harrison might want to talk about in this hour. What's on your mind, Jamie Harrison?
Well, Tavis, it's always good to hear you, brother. And thank you for having me on. Let me tell you, man, when this election's done, a brother deserves a vacation.
You've earned it. You've earned it, man. You've earned it.
But, I'm excited because I think the vice president's going to get on that stage, and she's going to paint a contrast. This election is really a choice. It's a choice between two different visions for the future. You got Vice President Harris and Governor Walz who are fighting for a future that strengthens our democracy, right? That protects our freedoms. And you got Donald Trump, who believes that America's greatness is in our past. This is a guy who has extreme and dangerous views on where he wants to take this country. His tweet the other day basically saying that anybody who opposed him in the election, he wants to throw in jail. I mean, that's a dictator on day one type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And people need to understand what is at stake. And this is no time to mess around here, that our fundamental freedoms are on the ballot. And that's what we're going to hear in this debate.
I want to get to the debate in just a second, but I want to just pause or pivot ever so gently and briefly to give you your props on the convention. I've done this, as you well know, more times than I can count over the course of my career. And I think it is the case that I've never been to a convention. I'm not the first or the only to say this, obviously, but I've never been to a convention that had that level of enthusiasm and excitement in the way that this one did, number one. But I recognize that there's a lot of work that goes into making these things happen. And I just want to pause because we've only had, there's a very short list of black folk who have been the head of the DNC. I was there for the very first one, named Ron Brown. And you are standing on, obviously, as you well know, the shoulders of many other African Americans who've put their blood, sweat, and tears into building this party. But it always means something to me when somebody black is at the forefront of making something that massive, that historic happens. I want to just stop for a second and give you your props on pulling off a great convention in Chicago. And just give me your reflections right quick. To your point, you've earned a vacation when all this is said and done. But look back on Chicago as the chair of the party and tell me what you made of your convention.
Well, listen, Tavis, I've heard from a number of people. Jim Clyburn called me this weekend and said, he'd been to every convention since 1968. And by far, the convention we just had was the best he's ever went to. And in my world, man, that is high praise.
Yeah.
But, my partner in this was Mignon Moore, who was the convention chair.
Oh, yes.
From the south side of Chicago.
That's right.
And Alex Hornbrook, who was her ED. And I can tell you, we were just doing our black jobs, Tavis, and when we do our black jobs, we change some things, brother.
Yeah.
We change some things.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of what we were able to pull together, and everybody, folks who were in the arena, but so many people who were just watching at home.
Yeah.
Reached out to us to let us know how much they enjoyed it, how much they felt like it was just a big family reunion.
Yeah.
And in many ways it was, the laughing, the dancing, the crying, some people drinking, maybe a little too much. But all of it was fantastic. And then the VP, I call her MVP, our Madam Vice President. Yeah. She did what MVPs do.
Yeah.
And in the home of Michael Jordan, she didn't miss one shot. Yeah. And so, I was really, really happy about how it all came together. Giving Joe Biden his flowers, giving Reverend Jackson his flowers, the artists that we had on the stage, from Patti LaBelle to Stevie Wonder to John Legend. It was just the roll call, which was now, I think, a new historic benchmark. I left feeling like we had the energy and the momentum that we need to go into November and winning this race.
When we come forward, I want to talk about whether or not they can, in fact, carry that momentum into November and win this race. Again, a big shout out to Mignon Moore. I feel myself humbled and honored to have been friends with all these folk for so long, but there have been a number of sisters who have spearheaded these conventions. Mignon Moore did her thing this year in Chicago. I'm thinking of my friend Leah Daughtry and the conventions that she's run in the past. So there are a lot of black folk behind the scenes making some big things happen in this country. So shout out to these sisters, Mignon Moore this time around, Leah Daughtry in the past, but the chair of the party is a brother named Jamie Harrison. More with him when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking.
That's what we do around here.
You're listening to Tavis Smiley. Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Looks like Bobby needs a ride again.
Grab the keys. Let's take our auntie to the swap meet. Grab the keys.
Whether you're giving rides or hauling gear, do it all in a Chevy SUV. Head to your local Chevy dealer, where well-qualified buyers get 1.9% APR on all 2024 Silverado 1500, Blazer EV, Equinox, Trailblazer, and Colorado models. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
1.9% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $28.60 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 12.7%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 9/30/24.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You've got a Pepto predicament, Beach Bum.
Hey, we're heading down to the beach. You coming?
Yeah, Dad. You coming?
I had a little too much to eat at the resort buffet. I need a minute.
Oh, you overdid it. And now your beach vacation is giving you belly waves. Undo it with Pepto.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto Chewables provide fast 5-symptom relief so you can get back to making memories.
Let's go, Dad!
When you overdo it, undo it with Pepto. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Have you noticed the hype around retinol lately? It's all over my social media. But did you know you can get retinol in a body wash? Amazing, right? Olay Retinol Body Wash is packed with moisturizing vitamin B3 complex plus retinol to transform dry skin to visibly renewed in just 14 days. Try it the next time you shower and see the difference for yourself with Olay Retinol Body Wash for visibly renewed skin in just 14 days. And try Olay Retinol 24 Body Lotion.
He's a paradigm pioneer and the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
Tavis Smiley in the chair of the Democratic National Committee, the brother chair. Jamie Harrison is our guest for the next 15 or so minutes, and gives us a few more minutes to cover a few more things I want to get his temperature on, take his temperature on. Let me just say this, Jamie, at the outset, Chairman Harrison. Sometimes I call him Jamie because he's my friend and brother. I should be calling him Chairman Harrison to be more respectful. So forgive me for that, Jamie. Chairman Harrison. But I've been at this a long time, and I don't know that I, again, have ever seen as much excitement at a convention like we saw in Chicago. Already established that. But I'm pushing now toward tomorrow night. There is a level of enthusiasm, excitement, and dare I say anticipation about tomorrow night. Now, my view is that we tend to, in our business, put too much on these things, and I think put a lot of pressure on people they don't need to be dealing with. It's enough pressure already to be running for president, much less all the hype that we put on this debate tomorrow night. But it will be what it will be, and we're all excited about it. Here's my point. The enthusiasm that I'm tracking is really off the chart. So as you know, I have my own station here in L.A., where I'm sitting right now, KBLA Talk 1580. This program, as you also know, is syndicated on stations all across the country, and I've been checking in with some of my fellow owners and friends around the country what they're doing at their stations, and it seems that everybody is doing a couple things. Number one, most of us are broadcasting the debate live tomorrow here in L.A., certainly, at 6 Pacific time. We're broadcasting the entire 90-minute debate live on my home station, and immediately after, we're going into a 90-minute conversation with a bunch of guests about what they just witnessed. And so we're having a debate viewing party in our station, literally at our station tomorrow night. I don't know where I'm going to put all these Negroes because everybody named Mama's trying to get up in here to watch with us, our team here. Everybody wants to be in this room, in this building tomorrow, I should say, to watch this. So we got, I'm looking at my tech guys through the window right now. All my tech guys are in the building putting up monitors everywhere. The caterers are arriving to get set up to bring the food in tomorrow night. We have a huge debate watch party here in our station. Again, friends around the country are doing the same. And every time I look up every 2 minutes somebody's sending me an invitation to their debate watch party tomorrow night. So certainly in Black America, there's an energy around this. These debate parties are happening everywhere. What's your read of that level of not just excitement, but investment on the part of Black voters in particular?
Well, I can tell you, and across all 50 states, there are debate watch parties. And I know the Divine Nine, many of them are also debate watch parties. Because think about this. This is history on the stage. This is going to be the first Black woman on a presidential debate stage. Yep. First HBCU graduate on a presidential debate stage. First member of the Divine Nine on a presidential debate stage, right? We are witnesses to history right now. And we can make more history if we do the right things coming out of this debate. If we then go into our communities and make sure that all of our nieces and nephews, aunts and uncles are registered to vote, that then they have a plan to go vote, and that we actually mobilize them to the polls, either voting early or voting on election day. And Tavis, this is what I want folks to understand. I call the Democratic Party, we are a future thinking party. Mm-hmm. This is the future that we have at hand. And I want to paint this picture for you and your audience. Think about January 20th, 2025, cold, brisk day in Washington, D.C. We're at the United States Capitol, a building built by the hands of slaves. And on a dais built on those steps is a Black woman in a black robe who is a Delta, who is Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, and she's holding a Bible, and that Bible is the Bible of Frederick Douglass. And out steps another Black woman who's an AKA, who could be in a white suit or even a tan one. And she steps on that dais, she puts her hand on that Bible, and she lifts her other hand, and she swears to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States, becoming the 47th president of these United States. That is the future that this country can have, but we got to do our part to make it happen. And that is what I'm fighting for each and every day, for us to make that a reality, because then all of the issues that are important to us, Black infant mortality rate, historically Black colleges and universities, creating more Black businesses, closing the economic wealth gap between Black and white, what have you. All of those things would then have priority, because we know those are priorities for our Madam Vice President, soon to be our Madam President.
Yep. It's a beautiful picture, and it doesn't take one too much. One does not need too much effort or creativity to close your eyes and imagine the picture that you just painted for us. I can see it very clearly. And to your point, if you can maintain the momentum, that picture may come into full view. I should mention right quick that our debate party here in L.A. tomorrow at our station, KBLA, is co-hosted with the Empowerment Congress, a major organization here in Southern California, doing all kind of voter participation and education work. So we're excited to be partnering with them tomorrow night for our debate party. But again, stations all across the country that I've been checking in with are going to be doing their own debate viewing parties. And again, we will spend 90 minutes immediately after. I figure if the debate is 90 minutes, then give the people 90 minutes to express themselves about what they just saw. Yeah. So we're excited about that frame for our station here tomorrow. And again, many other stations across the country doing their own sorts of events. So to that question of momentum, you know this because you've been in politics a long time, and you ran for the Senate, ran an amazing campaign. You worked with James Clyburn, who you mentioned earlier. So you know this stuff as well as anybody, and you know that it's not always easy to maintain momentum across a long stretch, a long period of time. Clearly, the runway is shorter now than it otherwise would have been for Kamala Harris. I think that's a good thing ultimately. But talk to me about how you sustain the momentum. The fundraising clearly is going quite well. How do you maintain the momentum between now and November 5?
So there are a lot of things on our side, Tavis. I think momentum is on our side. I think the energy is on our side. The money right now, we are out raising them. But this is the thing that I think is going to be the difference maker, and how the vehicle in which you take that momentum and turn it into the action. It is the infrastructure and the party infrastructure. You know, a lot of people like to contrast this race to 2016. Mm-hmm. The difference between this 2016 and the race that Hillary ran, because remember, she got millions more votes than Donald Trump did, but we weren't able to win in some of these critical battleground states. And partly it's because the infrastructure of the party and her campaign was not the solid infrastructure that was necessary to really win that close election. But this is the difference. This is a different DNC in 2024. For the last 3.5 years, under the blessings of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, we have been rebuilding the infrastructure in this party across the country, all a 50-state strategy plan. We right now have over 312 coordinated offices across our battleground states, over 2,000 staff. And the Republicans don't have that. Donald Trump, when he became the nominee, gutted the infrastructure the RNC had and laid off a lot of those people, closed many of those offices. Now they're trying to open them back up. But you and I both know in politics, you can raise more money, you can hire more people, but you don't get time back. They've wasted that time. And what we did with that time, as Dr. King said, you got to be efficient and effective with time. Mm-hmm. And we were efficient and effective. We had people on the ground in these states doing voter registration, knocking doors, doing the mobilizing, making sure we had voter protection teams. And that is going to be the difference maker. And now that we have these thousands in Florida, 40,000 new volunteers. Well, if you don't have an infrastructure on the ground to house those volunteers, that's wasted energy and wasted resources. Well, we do. We do have those offices, and they're coming in, and we're putting them to work. That is going to be the difference maker in this very, very close election. That's going to be the part of the reason why we win this.
Let me just ask you point blank. What do you, as chair of the DNC, expect to see tomorrow night? Clearly, the frame is the following. You've got this black woman who you quite nicely laid out earlier is historic in her own right. You've got this white male. And the country is going to see these two folk go at it tomorrow night. There are all sorts of landmines, frankly, that both of them need to make sure they navigate, given the frame that they're in and what people are going to be looking at tomorrow night. For Kamala Harris in particular, this is her first chance, really. She's been out there a long time. But it's her first chance to really introduce herself to the American people writ large. There'll be more eyeballs on her tomorrow than at any point in her life. So it's a huge opportunity, but we know who she's up against, and we know the way he rolls. What do you expect is going to happen tomorrow night when they're on stage looking each other in the eye?
Well, I want her to prosecute the case. Treat this just like when she was in the courtroom. Mm-hmm. Basically, you get up there, and the jury is the American people, and you prosecute the case. You lay out what you want to prove here, what you want to achieve in your 4 years as president of the United States. But then you also need to prosecute your opponent, why he is guilty, why he is really a failure. He was a failure as a businessman, a failure as a president. This is a guy who was a 34-count convicted felon, twice impeached, led an insurrection, and sexually assaulted a woman. And he doesn't deserve to be near the White House, let alone be in the White House. Mm. She is more experienced, she's more trustworthy, and she's more focused on helping the American people. And I believe if she prosecutes that case, she will be hands down the winner of this debate and lead us into November to become the winner of this presidential election.
I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I got 5 minutes left here, and I want you to cover a few more things between now and the bottom of the hour. Not telling you anything you don't know. You read the same stuff I read, and you get more of it, and you get better stuff because you're the chairman, and I'm not. But I saw this story weeks ago. I raised it earlier in today's program, but I didn't get a chance to ask it of the chairman of the party, so I get to do that right now. There's some Democrats on the Hill advising her publicly to focus on his character, and you just laid some of that out now, to hit him on the character question, not so much on policy. Hit him on character, not on policy. I have said publicly, I think that's bad advice, but I ain't the chairman, you are. What do you make of that advice from some Democrats to focus on character, not so much on policy?
Well, I think you got to. I don't think it's an either or, Tavis. I think it's you got to paint the full picture of who Donald Trump is, because this is the thing. All voters aren't monolithic. Right. There's some voters who are policy driven, right? They want to know what are the X's and O's of the policy. But there are a lot of people who aren't so much. They don't get into the nitty gritty of the policy. It's about their feelings. Do they trust you? Do they think that you will have their best interest in hand? And part of that is a character assessment when you make that determination. Because you know some of us vote with our heads, some of us vote with our hearts and our guts. And you got to make sure as a candidate you are talking and appealing to all of those voters. because non-voter is just one type. And I believe it's important for her because your character dictates the policy that you are going to enact. If you are a selfish person and you only care about yourself and people like you, then you're not going to focus on child care. You're not going to focus on making sure health care is available and affordable for all of America's people. You're not going to make sure all of those things are tied together. And so I think what's really important for her is to show that because he is so devoid of true high-level character, his policies aren't going to be worth a damn. And they're not going to help the working people in this country. So I really do believe it's not an either or, but it's an all of the above, and she has to find that way to really package that so that it fits all of those type of voters.
As I said, tomorrow night she gets a chance to introduce herself to Americans, some for the first time. We know her name, we know the jobs positions she's held heretofore, but tomorrow night is really her chance to introduce herself to the nation. What is it that you know about Kamala Harris that you hope that she will share and show to the nation tomorrow night?
Well, that one, she has a big heart. This is a person who really, really cares about the American people and about the suffering that some of the American people are going through right now. I mean, when she, and it's a perfect example, when she was running for president the first time, and she came through South Carolina, and she was talking with a lot of black women in the state about the childhood infant mortality rate. That so many black women were losing their babies or are having complications and difficulties. And what did she do? She took that, never lost it, even though she didn't become the nominee, but she became vice president. And then she decided to start working on that. The black folks and so many folks holding on to so much medical debt and that keeping them from moving forward. That's something that the vice president heard about when she was campaigning. And as a vice president, worked with Joe Biden in order to address that and wants to continue to do that.
Yeah.
And so what I want her to do is because she's been going around this country for 3.5 years now.
Yeah.
I want her to just talk about some of the stories that she has heard about, personalize these things that people are having right now, and then give her solutions to how she's going to solve and address those issues.
Finally, just because I'm nosy, you know where I'm watching the debate tomorrow night. Unless it's a state secret, where will the chairman of the DNC be watching the debate tomorrow night?
I will be in Philadelphia. I'll be right there where all the action is, and with the great people in Pennsylvania. So I'm looking forward to it. But before that, Tavis, I'm going to the White House tomorrow morning.
Yes.
Because my Lady Gamecocks are coming to the White House. President Biden and Don Staley. So I'm going to take a pit stop in D.C. before I go to Philly.
No, Donna's my girl, man. She has done an amazing job. That's my girl, man. I knew Don when she was in Philadelphia at Temple years ago when she was there.
Yeah.
So I knew her from her Philly days, and we've been friends for a long time. But she is doing her thing, man, and congrats to Don Staley and the Lady Gamecocks on that honor tomorrow at the White House, and Jamie Harris will be there rooting them on, and then he heads to Philadelphia tomorrow night to be where the action's going down. Well, the rest of us will be watching it wherever we are, but it's going to be a big night, a historic night for America, certainly for Black America, and we're honored to be talking to the Black chairman of the DNC, Jamie Harrison. All the best, sir. We'll do it again soon. Thanks for your time, man.
Thank you, brother. Good talking to you.
Likewise, as always. Take care, my friend. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A federal trial gets underway in Memphis, Tennessee for 3 former Memphis police officers in the 2023 beating death of African-American Tyree Nichols. The 3 defendants are expected to stand trial on state charges of second-degree murder. A new national poll released Sunday by the New York Times and Siena College has former President Trump ahead of Vice President Harris by a margin of 48 to 47%. The 1-point difference is well within the survey's stated margin of error, meaning the election could go either way. Well, you don't have to attend Apple's Glow Time event to watch it. Apple plans to stream today's event on its website and YouTube. The iPhone maker is expected to announce its newest product lines with AI enhancements and capabilities. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 in my garage after I overpaid for new blinds. I researched the industry, hired my mom, and 14 years later, we're one of the largest retailers of custom blinds in the U.S. Don't pay too much for new blinds. Go to Blindster.com.
Is this the takeover? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A mixed bag for LA's NFL teams in week 1 of the regular season. The Chargers won their first game with new coach Jim Harbaugh. The Rams lost in overtime at Detroit. The Rams never got the ball in the overtime session. The Lions drove 70 yards in 8 plays. 7 of the 8 plays were on the ground, capped by a 1-yard touchdown run by Lions running back David Montgomery. The Rams are at Arizona next Sunday. The Chargers had more rushing yards than passing yardage in their 12-point win over the Las Vegas Raiders at SoFi. J.K. Dobbins ran for 135 yards and 1 touchdown. Even though the Chargers have one of the NFL's best quarterbacks in Justin Herbert, Harbaugh let everybody know that his team will be running the football. The Chargers are at Carolina next Sunday. The Dodgers shut out Cleveland Sunday. They now have a 6-game lead over San Diego in the NL West. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Are you interested in catching up on all the latest entertainment news, trending topics, and exciting interviews? I got you. Tune in to The Raw Report with Robin Ayers, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. I'm your host, Robin Ayers. Join me every weekday with some of the best entertainment contributors in the business as we break down what's going on, who's got next, and what not to miss. Only on The Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. If you say you care about the community, you have to also care about the climate. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Blindster is a family-run business that began in 2010, and we've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters and received over 100,000 5-star reviews. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do...
Let's play something, Grandma.
...became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust new Febreze car vent clips, now with 3 times greater scent control, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with new Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing, which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
We thank the chair of the DNC, Jamie Harrison, for checking in with us today on the eve of the big debate tomorrow night. It's going to be quite an evening, a historic evening, and we look forward to checking it out in real time. We close today's show, as promised, in conversation with holistic healer Dr. Kamal Kokai about the evolution of science in healthcare and the future of holistic healing. Dr. Kokai, good to have you on today, sir. How are you?
Greetings, Brother Tavis. I am so happy to be here, and I'm doing fine.
It's good to hear your voice, man. I'm thanking you for the time right now that we have to just scratch the surface on some of these issues, and perhaps down the road we can talk a little bit more. But I want to start with some broad questions, and again, make the most of the time that we do have. I want to work my way up to the future of holistic healthcare, but I want to start, I guess, with a question about the state of holistic healthcare.
Well, the state is a little shaky on a couple of levels because of the degree of control that pharmaceuticals have in the country. 75% of the FDA budget basically comes from pharmaceuticals and testing their medications. But more than that, it's the mindset of people, because the mindset hasn't really kept up with the physics. And I want to break that down a bit, right?
Sure.
Basically, in Western culture, there was this separation between church and state. So everything that was about matter, people could investigate. Anything that wasn't about matter, well, it's not something to really look at. But what's happened as over time, the physics has shown us that there really isn't such a thing as matter. Down to the atomic level, everything is in a state of energy, a state of vibration. And that really impacts then how you look at reality and how you actually look at healthcare and therapies. So a lot of the science then is now looking at the body more at the level of energy, photonic energy, frequencies in the body, right? And looking at it that way, as opposed to looking at developing more and more drugs. So there's another way to do that. But the even bigger leap is this, and it's really in this question. Do you believe that the consciousness that's in you is really a function of that birth, that physical process of the zygote, of that formation of you at the time of conception? Do you believe that consciousness comes out of that, or does that process of the formation of a human being, is that something that provides a vehicle for consciousness to express itself through? And that is one of the questions on the cutting edge of where philosophy and medicine come together. Because if you believe the latter, which I do, then the question is, if a human being is a vessel for this consciousness to come through, then what is it that we're tapping into? Or how do we tap into that? And how do we use that? So what's happened in medicine, in regular medicine, which is still based on a real material-based model, we have something called the placebo effect. Now, the placebo effect shows up based on your belief system, right? You can believe that a procedure, a medication, or something is going to make you achieve wellness. And even when this is done with like sham surgery, where you're told that, this is going to help you, but is really, is not the real surgery, it can still work. How does that happen and stuff? What is the process by which that consciousness that is you, right, is also affecting change at a biochemical level? Now, in regular medicine, there's so much effort that's being put in to block the effect of consciousness on any experiment. So you have double-blind controlled experiments. Now, this limits us. And what happened in my own development, so I went to Yale Medical School, And I realized there was a very limited mindset there. So I studied Chinese medicine, homeopathy, any number of disciplines. But there came a certain point in the early 90s when I realized I don't see people of African descent really represented within this expanding, this expanding medical therapies that are available.
Right.
So at the time, I was taking care of Reginald Lewis, who was one of the wealthiest African Americans.
Oh, yeah, I know Reginald well. Beatrice Company, his wife,
right.
His widow, Lorda Lewis, was a guest on this program for her memoir not too long ago.
Wow. Well, I was one of his doctors.
Right.
So what happened, he funded a project that allowed me to go to Africa, to visit countries, to interview traditional healers, and to really understand what it is that line of humanity was really working on. So what happened, you have a framework where in the West, you see everything is very material. In the East, we're always talking about energy medicine. We're talking about chi. But in Africa, the conversation is really about consciousness. It's really about the life energy itself that flows through each one of us and is connected to all of us. This is something that has to be cultivated. And we see it in people. Yes.
I'm sorry. No, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm just watching my time here. My sense is that writ large, that is to say across the board, and by across the board I mean across this country and around the globe, my sense is that everyday people, as Sly Stone might call them, everyday people are embracing and understanding and willing to try to experiment with holistic health and everything connected to it. My question is whether or not holistic healing and holistic healers like yourself are getting more respect in the medical profession writ large.
So what happens you have holistic medicine has turned into complementary and alternative medicine, where it was then recognized, there are other things that can be done to complement allopathic medicine. But then that turned into integrative medicine, which means that you're using a number of paradigms. And within that, allopathic medicine isn't necessarily the big dog. We know that nutrition can make a difference. We know that acupuncture can make a difference. And then you have even functional medicine. We're really trying to understand how things actually work and how to impact that. What I'm speaking about and what I've put a lot of energy into is working with a group, and we're unveiling something called multidimensional medicine. And multidimensional medicine is how do we use consciousness to actually impact what's happening. This is self-healing taken to another level.
Hold that thought. When we come forward, I want to hear more about what that looks like. What does consciousness healing look like? I'm fascinated by this. Our guest is Dr. Kamal Kokai. We'll talk about that part when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From Lamert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Tavis Smiley's new book, The Covenant with Black America, 20 Years Later, is now on sale everywhere. This classic text shot to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list almost 2 decades ago. If you have the original book, you will surely want to get this 20th anniversary edition with powerful new contributions from today's leading voices. This 20th anniversary edition presents a compelling blend of historical insights and contemporary urgency in this critical and unprecedented election year. Get your copy of The Covenant with Black America, 20 Years Later, today.
So you may have heard of Project 2025, a plan crafted by Trump and his MAGA loyalists to give Trump virtually unchecked political power and take Black America backwards. Here's how. Project 2025 strips away our voting rights protections, and it eliminates the Department of Education. It would siphon public school funding to private schools, leaving our kids behind. Planning on going to college? Good luck paying for it. Project 2025 cuts funding for federal student loans. Trump's Project 2025 would also make states monitor women's pregnancies, and it bans abortion. Project 2025 would also gut Obamacare, ripping away health care from millions. Simply put, Trump's Project 2025 would be devastating to Black America. But we can stop it by voting for Kamala Harris for president, because we are not going back.
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Harris for president.
Hey LA, today I'm here to talk to you about Grid Alternatives, which is a nonprofit in LA that focuses on renewable energy. We serve communities who have been left out of the renewable energy sector. We offer paid job training, and in 13 weeks, you can become a solar installer. 80% of our graduates get hired into the industry, and once you're hired in the industry, you stop at a high, medium income. That could be $20 an hour or more. 80% of our graduates get hired into the industry. Call today so you don't be left out at 323-861-0105 or gridalternatives.org, gridalternatives.org.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
Dr. Kamal Kokaj, I guess. My time is getting tired of me. But you were saying a moment ago, you were teeing up this notion, this conversation about consciousness and self-healing. Tell me more.
Okay, so in the 1950s, they started doing measurements on acupuncture points on the body surface, and they realized acupuncture points are points of least resistance. So the body has a whole electromagnetic field. And now, as we move more into the field of quantum physics, they understand that your consciousness, your thoughts, can have a direct impact on your physiology. So what's happened now is 2 lines of development. One, there's a technology to measure these bioenergetic fields. You have something called NES Health, there's an AO scan, there's a BioWell. There are any number of technologies that can now measure these subtle energy fields. Because when you move into quantum medicine, things are thoughts and thoughts are things, meaning they're made of the same energetic substance, but they're at different levels of energy matter organization, and they have to be measured a particular way. The flip side of that is that people are actually developing skills to interface with those fields. And I say skills, I'm talking about things like Qigong, pranic healing, Reiki therapy. There are any number of disciplines that allow people to be more in touch with these subtle energy fields that they can actually use. Now, so what happens is really about what practitioner you're in touch with. Like you asked me earlier, what are people, how is the medical profession dealing with this? They're not really dealing with this because it's outside of that mindset. It's not a drug. It's not that kind of quantitative measurement. But I tell you, as someone who got involved with acupuncture like over 35 years ago, it's really about the people. The people responded. The scientists were still scratching their heads. But once they see that people begin to respond to these therapies, that makes a difference. More and more people are recognizing that they can respond to energetic therapies, and the energetic therapies are becoming more quote-unquote scientific.
Why would you?
Because people are refining their skills.
Yeah, very quickly. Why would you? I don't want to phrase this. What would you put at the top of your list for the reasons that Western medicine continues to to the extent they do, ignore holistic healing? What's the price? It's not. You said it's not a drug, which means ain't no money in it. Is that the top reason?
It's money and mindset. It's a material base. Are you spirit based? Do you believe that human beings are here to have, that we're spiritual beings having a human existence?
Right.
Or are we just lumps of clay that have been made that way? And this is where the African cultural framework, I mean, for me, African culture saved my life from the standpoint of the mindset I was exposed to at Yale.
Yeah.
Right? I had to find something that was more about a life spirit that's in everything.
I guess,
and being able to embrace that.
I guess the question is whether those two things are mutually exclusive. When we come forward, I want to get to that part of the conversation. Whether or not these are two different things that cannot peacefully coexist. Whether or not we cannot use both of these processes for our healing. Our guest is Dr. Kamal Kokai. More with him when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You've got a Pepto predicament, Beach Bum.
Hey, we're heading down to the beach. You coming?
Yeah, Dad. You coming?
I had a little too much to eat at the resort buffet. I need a minute. Oh, you overdid it. And now your beach vacation is giving you belly waves. Undo it with Pepto.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto Chewables provide fast 5-symptom relief so you can get back to making memories.
Let's go, Dad!
When you overdo it, undo it with Pepto. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
More honesty than you can handle.
More empowerment than you can imagine.
You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Dr. Kamal Kokai in our remaining moments here. About 4 minutes left in this conversation. I was asking you a moment ago, I said I wanted to ask whether or not what we've been discussing, whether or not these things are mutually exclusive. That is to say, broadly, Western medicine and holistic healing.
No, they're not. And all of this needs to be brought together. I mean, if anyone look at my website, kokaihealth.com, you'll see all the different things that I'm doing outside of being a trained Western doctor. And it has to happen that way because there are different levels to us. There's a mechanical level, a chemical level, a bioenergetic level, and a spiritual level. And they have to be integrated. They have to come into alignment for us to truly be healthy. But what's happened, the tools that we're using to deal with the bioenergetic and the spiritual, they really can't be drugs. They shouldn't be drugs because the drugs aren't interfacing at the level that it needs to happen to help people to get to the roots of some of their diseases. You can't have an 8-minute visit with a doctor and get to the roots of what's going on with your present illness, your autoimmune disease, your cancer, your hypertension. It's not going to work that way. So because the medical system then is based on an economic model, right, it's not serving people because within that, the medicine is considered the drug. The medicine is actually the interaction, the exchange of energy that takes place between people, and that isn't focused enough and cultivated enough in regular medical training. So the answer is it is done, but people are having to step outside of the mainstream medical system, one, to get the training. So it's almost like there has to be a calling because you do that at a price.
Yep.
Because you're no longer in the system.
Given the African roots of this holistic healing that you've established quite nice in this conversation, I'm wondering whether or not African Americans are more open than other ethnicities in this country to holistic healing.
What I would say, people that are rooted in their traditions, they're open to that. And in part, they're open because they see the mainstream therapy is not working for them.
Right.
And with African Americans, especially in the church, with hands-on healing, prayer, sound, music, this is so in tune with our DNA that it's easy for many folks to jump into that, right? But we have different circumstances that we have to navigate that then require us to rely on medicines that at the end of the day don't necessarily help us or free us.
I got 90 seconds left. Where does one begin? Where does one commence pushing back on the brainwashing? That's my word, not yours. The brainwashing that we have been given about Western medicine being superior to anything else and to everything else.
Well, there are more and more voices like myself that are actually speaking up. We are the Multidimensional Healing Collective. We're having an initial gathering on the 18th. Anybody can register there for MDH Circle, gmail.com, mdhcircle@gmail.com. Send us an email, and we want to get more into this conversation. But there are definitely practitioners now that are using not just acupuncture, but Reiki, pranic healing, Qigong, that are actually doing these energetic measurements. It's so decentralized at this point, is what I would say, that you do have to look. You do have to, put your feelers out there and do it not when you're about to get sick.
That's it. No, that's the best advice. That's the best advice right there. I'm out of time. We'll leave it there, but I love the way we close. Couldn't do better than that. Not when you are about to get sick or when you're sick. How about being a little preventive about this and get in front of it? I digress for now. His name is Dr. Kamal Kokai, and he is a holistic healer, as you can tell, and I've enjoyed having him on this program to talk about the future of holistic healing and the evolution of science within healthcare. We still got a ways to go, but I've enjoyed having him on. We'll do it again somewhere down the road. Dr. Kokai, thank you for your time, sir. All the best. You have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Brother Tavis.
Thank you so much, my friend.
You very much.
Just like that. Woo! 3 hours gone. Back here tomorrow to do it all over again. Tomorrow's a big day. Big debate tomorrow night. So we got a fire show for you tomorrow with some great guests leading up to tomorrow evening. Until tomorrow, thanks for tuning in to Tavis Smiley. And as always, keep the faith. Take it, Billy Preston.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A federal trial gets underway in Memphis, Tennessee for 3 former Memphis police officers in the 2023 beating death of African-American Tyree Nichols. The 3 defendants are expected to stand trial on state charges of second-degree murder. A new national poll released Sunday by the New York Times and Siena College has former President Trump ahead of Vice President Harris by a margin of 48 to 47%. The 1-point difference is well within the survey's stated margin of error, meaning the election could go either way. Well, you don't have to attend Apple's Glow Time event to watch it. Apple plans to stream today's event on its website and YouTube. The iPhone maker is expected to announce its newest product lines with